Greetings, my name is Nirmala Rao. I'm a professor at the Faculty of Education at the University of Hong Kong. I'm absolutely delighted to be with all of you today to speak about early childhood development and early childhood education. The importance of the early years of development is no longer a matter of debate. A wide body of evidence indicates that investing in the early years of life benefits an individual, his or her community, and the nation. The inclusion of early childhood development and early childhood education in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals signals the international recognition of the importance of the early years of development. So today I would like to talk to you about early childhood education quality. The title of my presentation is Early Childhood Education Quality Matters. What I'd like to do is first talk about the importance of the early years of development and talk about why the quality of early childhood education matters. I would then like to talk about some ways to enhance the quality of the services we provide to our young children. Then go on to talk about some research findings that show us the relationship between early childhood education quality and early child development and later development. Next, I'd like to go on and talk about the importance of government policy for enhancing the quality of early childhood services before winding up with some conclusions. A large body of research has told us that early childhood matters for a child's individual development and for societal development. The evidence has come from a variety of diverse fields, from neuroscience, from economic sciences, from developmental and educational sciences, as well as our concerns about preparing children for their future have led to an increased emphasis on early childhood education. I'd like to briefly review this evidence. We have arguments from neuroscience and this research has studied children's brain development. We know that at birth, a baby's brain is about 25% of the size of an adult brain, and by age 3, it is 80% of the size of an adult brain. What this means is that brain development is very rapid in the early years of life, and brain development is sensitive to environmental influences. So when children are supported, when they receive responsive care and they thrive. You are all familiar, I'm sure, with the economic arguments for investing in the early years of life. Investment in early childhood education yields larger returns than investing later in life. You may also all be familiar with the famous Heckman curve. So investing in early childhood education is considered to yield exceptional returns to individuals and societies. We also have a rights-based argument. We are very concerned about social justice, and we feel that early childhood education can reduce risks and support development and break the cycle of inequity that exists. A wide body of research from developmental and educational sciences has shown us that early childhood education and other early childhood interventions benefits children in the short term and the long term. For example, children who attend early childhood education have higher school achievement, they're less likely to drop out of school, they're having better health in adulthood, and less likely to have other problems. A lot of this research has based on a few small studies conducted in the United States, but the evidence based on studies from low and middle income countries is increasing, and that research also shows that early childhood has positive impact. Today, policymakers are very concerned about preparing children for a changing world, particularly for the changing nature of work, the speed of technological change that children will experience, and because they know how important science and mathematics is in today's world. So they see early childhood education as supporting these skills that children need. For example, the nature of work undertaken has changed considerably. Today, people do a lot less non-routine work, and they require analytic skills. They work in the knowledge economy. There's less need for routine manual skills. We have a lot more machines today, so we need to prepare children for the changing nature of work. We don't know what the world will be like when kindergarten children of today graduate, right, from school, so we need to actually equip them with the learning to learn skills. We've seen an amazing speed of technological change. I'm sure some of you in the audience don't recognize some of these. We've gone from this to this, right? So we need to prepare children to deal with these, with the kind of skills we provide them in kindergarten. It's not only enough to provide early childhood education to children. We need to provide services of a high quality, and early childhood education quality really matters. Firstly, as educators, policymakers, we are really concerned that an increase in access is not accompanied by a decrease in quality of services. As you can see, in low and middle income countries, access to pre-primary education, that is ages 3 to 5, has increased dramatically. This is the yellow, grey, and orange and light blue lines, right? And we need to ensure that children are receiving services of a proper quality. What do I mean by early childhood quality? Well, there are many perspectives on quality. You can look at quality from the perspective of government officials, who tend to look at teacher qualifications, teacher-child ratio, physical environment. On the other hand, parents look at quality in terms of what's convenient to them. There are cultural factors in the definition of quality. In some contexts, teacher-child ratios and group size are considered a hallmark of quality, but in some countries we have very highly qualified teachers managing large classes of children quite effectively. We need to be mindful in low and middle income countries that the quality benchmarks for quality change over time. So, for example, as more teachers are qualified in early childhood education, as we increase the services, we may decrease class size. So we may go from having one teacher to 25 children to one teacher for 12 children. Also, we have so we need to be aware that benchmarks will change over time. We may go from requiring a early childhood teacher from completing high school to completing a diploma to completing a degree, right? So we need to be aware that benchmarks change over time. The professionals talk about structural quality and process quality. Structural quality is what is typically regulated by the government, such as teacher qualifications, teacher-child ratios, and the physical settings and resources. That is a space clean? Are the health and safety standards met? Are there required space for children? Process quality, on the other hand, refers to the interactions between teachers and children. It refers to the implementation of the curriculum. So early childhood professionals and researchers tend to talk about structural and process quality. Basically, structural quality, that is the standards set by government, tends to determine process quality in both developed and developing countries. So why should we be so concerned about measuring early childhood quality? Well, first of all, it's really important that we focus on quality when access is increasing. We also need to have a shared understanding of what quality ECE entails and the role of teachers. So we're particularly concerned about process quality, and we really need to look at the effectiveness of interventions to improve quality. Like, for example, we know that teacher professional development, continuous professional development, improves the quality of services. So we really need to provide that for our teachers. It's important to measure both early childhood quality and early childhood development. We're improving quality because we want to see benefits for children. And one of the problems in the developing world is the lack of psychometrically robust measures of early childhood education quality and child development. But very happy to say that this problem is getting solved, and there have been a lot of very good measures developed in recent years. Okay, so how do we go about improving quality, and what has been done in low and middle income countries? We have to ensure that our programs are effective from financial perspectives and they're sustainable. Of course, all over the world there's an emphasis on evidence-based policy making, but really there is a dearth of evidence on program efficacy and impact evaluation in low resource contexts. So there are many factors in the broader educational system that help us improve the quality of programs. One is having these national curriculum guidelines. Many countries have sought to provide a curriculum for early childhood, which is play-based, child-centered, right? And it also includes all domains of development: physical development, social development, cognitive development, health and hygiene, self and society, science, nature and science. Right? They also have to have implemented standards for registration and operation of preschools. That's the teachers and the environment. Many countries you need to get a license before you start a preschool, right? Is it fire? Is it safe? Is it hygienic, right? Governments also have requirements for teacher professional development. Right? Teachers need to have like a minimum level of education, and they need to have pre-service training. Also, a very important enable factor is money. I think money matters. Government allocation of funds to support early childhood development. As there are lots of challenges for improving quality in low and middle income countries. As I mentioned, there's a lack of data from impact evaluations. There's a lack of political will and funding. There's a lack of infrastructure. Sometimes children have to walk miles and miles to preschools. There are no proper roads, there are no school buses, etc. And there are not enough universal programs that promote nurturing care in low and middle income countries. Teachers are absolutely key to enhancing early childhood education quality. We have to do more with the early childhood workforce. We know that compared to primary school teachers have low status and qualifications. There's a lack of support for teachers in the form of induction, mentoring, opportunities for professional development. As I mentioned, we don't have enough measures that are reliable and valid to measure, and contextually relevant to measure what's going on in the classroom. Evidence from across the world suggests that educators that feel valued and supported in terms of pay, prestige, qualifications, and opportunities for professional development tend to perform better and stay longer in the profession than those who don't feel valued. That's teachers' job satisfaction. So we really need to attract, prepare, retain, and support early childhood teachers in order to enhance early childhood education quality. There are some policies that have been effective in low and middle income countries, and one is the Tayari intervention in Kenya, where they used monthly classroom observations and teachers received support from a government ECE officer. They had a tablet-based coaching system that suggested areas of instructional feedback based on classroom observations, and the data from coaching visits were included in a country-level dashboard with information about quality in the classroom and coaching performance. And the coaching intervention showed statistically significant impacts on school readiness. So this is one thing that we can do. We can provide professional development for teachers, and this improves the quality of services that they provide. So what are some of the research findings? We look at preschool quality. We can measure preschool quality by parent reports, what they think. We can look at reports of indicators of preschool quality, such as teacher qualifications, teacher-child ratios, and we can also observe quality, right? What we call process quality, right? These findings show the relationship between observed kindergarten quality and child development on widely used measures, and basically the higher the quality, the better the child development, right, as measured by psychometrically robust measures. Another way of looking at changes in quality, right, is by visual inspection. So these are some data from Guizhou, China. The government tried to encourage standalone kindergartens over the years, and you can see what a change there's been in the physical environment. Some lessons from our work is that it's important to develop contextually sensitive measures of the quality of early childhood education, but we have to make sure that we give adequate attention to the fact that they're changing contexts, they're changing standards, and they're changing beliefs. We have to evaluate multiple domains of early development and learning, and we really need to improve our ability to measure policy change. We need to prioritize policy relevant research, and we need to support research through networks. We really want to enhance the capacity to do good research in low and middle income countries. We want to build the evidence base. I personally believe that government policy is critical in enhancing quality, and I just want to talk a little bit about this. Government policy sets benchmarks for preschool quality, and each context has its common challenges, right? And we really know from research that there is a relationship between policy, structural quality, and process quality. We have changing perspectives on ECE quality. Quality is crucial to achieving equity. We're really concerned about equity. So access plus quality requires equity. It doesn't work to have poor children going to poor quality schools and rich children going to high quality early childhood. We don't want that. We want every child to have access to high quality services. There's also an increased emphasis on measuring system quality, such as equity, quality, innovation, efficiency, and sustainability. There's an increased emphasis on social justice. All children need good instruction and high standards, but we're increasingly sensitive to the fact that children need teaching that's responsive to their own needs. Clearly, we see an increased emphasis on ECE quality in government curriculum frameworks, in licensing requirements, and we're also seeing an increased emphasis on teachers. And I just want to say that teachers are like really the most important aspect. It's not because I work in a faculty of education, but teachers are really so important for young children. So that's why we really need to invest in professional development of teachers, make sure that they're we attract the right people, retain the right staff, support them, and improve our early childhood system so they can have job satisfaction. So, in conclusion, there's a set of best practices consistently found in high quality programs that have been effective in improving early childhood development in high, middle and low income countries. Government policy should mandate these practices. Some countries have made enormous strides in promoting ECE equality through policy change. They learn from other countries, but they preserve their cultural values and heritage. ECE policy can enhance quality, but there's need for strong, sustained political commitment to do so that is accompanied by determination to reduce inequalities, poverty, and social injustice. Thank you so much for your attention.